One of the things I want to briefly talk about in this video is dopamine, and it's something that doesn't really come up in my client sessions. However, it got me thinking that given we have so much access to information and technology, that we can very easily become addicted to these devices. And you see it when people kind of scroll on social media for hours. It is an addiction. However, because everyone's doing it, it's kind of become normalized. And really, that's not what's happening. It's giving you hits of dopamine. And I want to talk about good sources of dopamine and bad sources of dopamine. Now, you might be thinking to yourself, well, what difference does it make? Dopamine is dopamine. But it's kind of like saying a calorie is a calorie, and it's not really true. A calorie is a calorie, but what you're eating really makes a difference for your overall metabolic health. And it's a similar principle when it comes to where you're getting your dopamine from. So I want to share with you a graph that I have available on my website. You can download it for free, where you can help to map out where you are getting your dopamine and what sources you would like to focus on in the future. Before we get into it, I'm Desh, I'm a qualified counselor, and it is my mission to help support you in your own mental health journey through enhancing your self-awareness. I'm going to share with you an exercise that's available to download on my website. The link is in the description, where you can see where you are currently getting your sources of dopamine from and where you would like to get your dopamine in the future. So this is the dopamine map. Now you might be thinking, what's the point of this exercise? Well, if you have ambitions to change up your life, to clean up your life, to strive towards particular goals that you have, maybe you want to live a more cleansing lifestyle, a cleaner lifestyle, you want to reconnect with nature, maybe you want to detox from any technology or devices you have, it may be you want to quit drinking or smoking, and maybe you want to scale back on video games and do more creative things that allow you to use your creativity more and not rely on technology to provide that for you. There could be many things you want to change in your life. You want to make changes that make you feel good. It may be you're doing things that make you feel good. However, you're losing a kind of fulfillment or satisfaction because you are not using aspects of yourself, your intelligence, your creativity, that would otherwise give you that sense of fulfillment as well as enjoyment. So for example, you may be playing video games and you may enjoy playing it. However, you're playing it a lot. You notice you're spending hours on it. And when you stop, you don't feel good. You kind of feel low. It's like there's this reliance on playing the game to make you feel good. You know, you might be saying, I don't want to rely on this thing to make me feel good. I want to be able to have kind of different sources of dopamine that's going to make me feel good about myself and fulfilled, and I feel I have more of a balance. So this is the purpose of this dopamine map. You can see in the top half is current. So this is what you're currently doing. As an example, you can categorize what things you're doing that's giving you dopamine, and you categorize them into good or bad. So in terms of the bad, it may be you're drinking alcohol, perhaps more than you would want to, you're eating junk food, and you're gambling. So these are things you may want to stop or scale back from, but they are also making you feel good, okay? And instead, there's other things you're doing that are positive. So let's say you are doing moderate exercise, you're socializing with people, and you're also learning. So these are the things you're currently doing. They're making you feel good. They are sources of dopamine. Yet you notice that perhaps you have a reliance on the negative sources of dopamine because they're more addictive. And this is what dopamine is. Because it feels good, it's a reward center, we want more of it. And so those things can be very addicting, particularly alcohol, junk food, gambling, you know. And that's why I put here, even on the positive column, moderate exercise, because too much exercise can also be addictive and not good for you. So too much of anything ultimately is not good. So it's about moderation. I'm not saying or suggesting that if you drink alcohol or junk food, whatever, you have to stop. However, you may be thinking, actually, it's not serving my health, it's not good for me. I want to eat healthier. I want to make these positive changes for my life. Yet, I struggle to let these go because it feels good. And it feels good because it's feeding you with dopamine. And then at the bottom section is the future. What is it? Where do you want to get your sources of dopamine from? So you see here, I want to be able to play video games and continue with social media. I enjoy it. I've kind of categorized these as negative. I mean, you can shift this to more the middle or positive if you want to. They can be very addictive, and it doesn't really serve us. When you play video games, you kind of escaped, you feel good. However, what have you really taken from it other than feeling good in the moment? Whereas if you're, for example, eating healthy foods, you're nourishing your body, it's like an investment into your own health. If you're spending time with nature, you're connecting with nature, you feel longer lasting sense of peace. When you come home after a walk, you'll probably notice you feel good. Or when you come home from exercise, you feel good for longer, compared to a video game where there's probably a bit of a harder crash. So it's down to you what you consider to be good or bad and what you feel is serving you. And there are positives, for example, to video games. Like they did a study with surgeons who play video games that actually helped them in their craft. So all of these things at the end of the day are tools. Some of these things are going to be more detrimental to your health than other things. What am I currently doing that's making me feel good, and where am I getting that from? And what would I like to be doing more of that I know would make me feel good? So this is where what you're currently doing is at the top, and at the bottom is what you want to aspire to. So you can have that on your phone or somewhere where you can refer to it to remind yourself of what changes you want to make and the reason you want to make those changes. Please comment below what insights you got from this video. I'd love to hear about it. Please like and subscribe. There's going to be more content coming out soon.